Hello, all my merrymakers. I am Becca, and welcome to Start Stitching Saturday. My bi-weekly series that's tutorial based for beginners. Last week we cast on a toe-up sock, and this week we're going to be doing shaping of the toe-up sock. So, as stated before, I'm using 2 needles at a time. You don't have to use 2 needles at a time if you're familiar and comfortable with the magic loop method, go for it. Or if you like to use double points, go for it. I am trying to focus on the stitches themselves. Alright, so first things first, before we begin stitching, I like to differentiate the front from the back, and that's just for when so that we know when we're at the beginning of the round, and trust me, it comes up. And then the second thing I like to do is add a second stitch marker. I add this when I'm about to start on an increase row, which we are about to do, because part of casting on was doing just a knit row to secure the stitches. So if you know anything, let me start over. So when you're shaping the toe, you're going to alternate between not increasing and increasing. So that's why I like to do that. So since our last row was not increasing, our next row is going to be increasing. And like I said, this is more of a beginner-based series. So a lot of this information, if you've done stuff like this before, might be something that you already know. I'm sorry, it gets a little repetitive. So I'm going to show you 2 different types of increases when doing this part of the tutorial. Choose whichever one is easier for you. And once you choose one, when making a sock, stick with one. Now, so just as a reminder, we have started with 8 stitches on each needle, and our goal is to increase to a total of 16 stitches on each needle, or a grand total of 32 stitches. Alright, so to keep my beginning around stitch marker where it is, I always just knit the first stitch. Now, here's where your decision comes in. So like I said, there's 2 increase stitches that I like to use when knitting. First one is the knit front and back. So you go in the front, pick up your yarn like normal, but you don't bring the loop off. Then you kind of turn your work and you go into the back and you pick up another loop. Once you've got 2 loops, you're free to come off. Now, I personally do not enjoy using this increase for socks because it creates a little bump. But if you don't care about bumps, this might be the increase for you. Then we knit regularly until there are 2 stitches left on this needle. Now, I'm going to use the same increase as before. Go in the front, pick up my loop, don't bring it off the needle just yet, turn it slightly, go in the back, pick up another loop, and there you go. That's knitting front and back. All right. All right. So the second increase is called the make one increase. Now, if you want to get fancy, there's make one right and make one left. I like to be fancy. So I'm gonna again show you both. If you want to do both, awesome. If you don't want to do both, it's not the end of the world. So again, knit the first stitch. Now, this is the way I was taught how to make a make one. So the first one we want to say is make one right, because it's on the right side of our work. And right comes from the rear. They both start with R. And I don't know if you can kind of see this, but I'm trying to pick up this little piece of yarn that is in between these two needle stitches. Now, some people like to do it with their left needle. Some people like to do it with, I like to do it with my right needle. It's a little bit easier. It doesn't matter as long as it's coming from the rear and going up on that needle. Now, you don't want to knit. You can knit it like it is, but it will create a hole. If you don't want a hole, you have to go in this front part here. It is a little fiddly and it's a little bit tight. I like to put my finger on this loop as I'm putting my needle through. And this is kind of splitty yarn, so it's being a little bit of a jerk. All right, and then you just knit just like before. Now, if you were reading a knitted pattern, it would say knit until second to last stitch. All right, now same thing as before, but instead of going from the rear, we're going from the front. Now, some people feel like that's a lot easier, and that's fine. Just know that if you do that, your stitches are going to lean to the left. So again, I'm gonna go in between my two stitches, pick up what's normally referred to as the ladder, and then this one, if I don't want a hole, I'm going into not the front part of the stitch, but the back part of the stitch. And again, I like to kind of turn my work so it's a little easier for me to see and get my needle in there, because it's a fiddly thing. And then knit the last stitch. Now, again, I have a tendency to put down my work a lot because I have children. But before I do anything else, I take off that second stitch marker, because that was my increase round, and my next round is going to be a regular stitch. If you ever, here's the bonus to doing them, to knit front and back stitch increase. You can always, well, not always, because with the smaller yarn it's harder to see, but you can see with some squinting the bump from the knitting front and back. I don't like to chance it, so I use the stitch markers to help clue me in. So again, now that I know that I'm just knitting on this row, that's all I'm doing. I am knitting. Nothing fancy, nothing schmancy. Just knit every stitch like I normally would. And again, I'm a continental knitter. If I was a thrower knitter, let me just show you. You insert and then you throw it around. It's the same thing. It really is. And if you're a complete beginner and you have no idea what I'm saying, just know that there are two types of knitting. One is called continental, one is called English. Do whichever one feels comfortable. All right. And I'm gonna pull this around and show you one more time these increases, and then we will be done for the day. And just remember that whatever number you started off with on each needle, you are doubling. So like for a sock weight yarn, you probably started off with 16 or 18 stitches on each needle. So you want to double that to either 32 or 36 stitches. It sounds like a lot, but when we're talking that small of a yarn, and these are, you know, the sizes that most people go by. Again, measure your foot, go by your gauge. All right, so now that I've completed a regular knit round, before I do anything else, I'm grabbing my stitch marker. And to me, to me, again, the two means increase, add. Some people do this when when it's time to decrease too. And basically, whenever you're doing something different, we add a stitch marker. And it's probably a good idea that it's a different color from your yarn, just so that it stands out more. So, all right. First increase we did was the knit front back. So again, you go in the front, pick up a stitch, go around into the back, pick up another stitch, and then take that loop off your needle. Knit until the second to the last stitch, and you're increasing. So if it feels like your sock is getting bigger, that's a good thing. Do the same thing on the other side. Go through the front, pick up a stitch, swirl it around, go through the back, pick up a second stitch, and then take it off my needle. All right. Pull my needle through. Now it's time for the other side, and my make one stitch. Knit the first stitch. If we're making one right, we're coming from the rear of this ladder stitch, putting it up on my needle, forcing this one in through the front, because it's again tight, and this one's the tightest and the fiddliest for me. And sometimes it does not want to go. Get that out, you know, if you need to use your pointer fingers to manipulate your yarn, go for it. Again, whatever works for you, works for you. All right, and then knit to the second and last stitch. And then go through the front. Oh, I almost went through the front again. That would have made a hole. I need to go through the back. And again, this way is fiddly. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. It's okay. Don't have to be fancy to make socks. All right. And then we're ready to do another knit row. And you just continue in that pattern until again you've doubled your loop count. I will see you next week when we talk about the length of the foot. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And don't be afraid to start stitching.